The spinning reel is an essential tool in every fisherman's arsenal. Whether you use it exclusively for all of your fishing needs or you just use it situationally, there are 5 major mistakes that every fisherman makes with the spinning reel. So the first mistake is thinking that there is a perfect fishing line for all your spinning reel needs. And that's not true. Braid isn't better than fluoro, fluoro isn't better than mono, and mono isn't the worst of the 3. It all depends on your needs and how you fish the spinning reel. So my opinion is I like to use braid to a leader. Braid prevents a lot of line twist problems, and if I use a leader, I can change it out situationally for whatever technique I'm using. The answer is pretty simple. Use what you are comfortable with and just make sure your friends and buddies aren't out fishing you. If that's the case, you may need to review the visibility of whatever you're using. So the second mistake that I see a lot of anglers make is fishing exclusively high-vis line. I promise you, if you can see it really well, the fish can see it really well too, and that might deter them from biting your bait. Now you see that I have high-vis line on this one, and I use this for bottom or vertical presentations, such as a Damiki rig, a drop shot, or a Ned rig. So those I can detect bites really, really easily. However, I'm not gonna use this for some kind of swim bait presentation because it's gonna go right by the fish and they're gonna see this line and then see the bait. And they're gonna be like, well, that's fishy. Okay, I get the pun, but anyways, you don't want them to see the line before they see your bait. So if you spent any time using a spinning reel, at some point in time, you've had a bird's nest where you have 3, 4, 5 lines coming all out of your reels at the same exact time. And if you don't know how to remove or correct this properly, it can cost you a lot of line and a lot of money. So in order to fix a bird's nest, first you're going to want to close the bell on your spinning reel and you're going to want to loosen up the drag. Then you're going to want to pull the main line until the bird's nest kind of cinches up next to the spool. You may end up with a kink in there. You just pick at it with your fingers, maybe try to pull it out yourself, and then continue to pull the main line out until the bird's nest is gone. Tighten down your drag, and then tighten your line again and reel out that slack that you just removed. When I was first shown how to do this, I wasn't a believer, but I promise you guys, it does work every time. Mistake number 4 is allowing your line and your spool to either be misaligned on the outside of it or have loops within it. And now doing that is going to eventually cause the bird's nest problem that we just resolved in mistake number 3. Now, if you want to prevent that from happening, 2 things you need to do is A, you need to start closing the bell of your reel manually. Don't just click it over. You need to start doing that manually. And also making sure that you have tension in your line before you start to reel in. If you have loose line right here in this area, then it is going to go wherever it wants to. It's not going to have any tension to make sure it's lined up properly. And I know a lot of us are guilty. We'll put out some slack just to let the bait fall a little more. Well, you need to lift up the rod at the end of that and then begin to reel in to make sure that you don't make any of those loops. If you're fishing in windy conditions, that can also cause slack in this area. Don't have your line super bowed when you reel it in. Give it a little bit of tension and then begin to reel in. Always reel under tension with a spinning reel. So the 5th mistake here is not doing everything in your spinning reel setup to maximize your cast distance. As we all know, the further away we cast, the more likely a fish is not to be disturbed by our physical presence. So you're going to maximize your castability here. The first thing we want to do is fill our spool as much as possible with line. With a braided line, we can fill this up to about a 1/16 of an inch between the edge of the line and the edge of the spool. With fluoro or mono, I would only go to about 1/8. This is one of those instances where performance increases the closer you get to the edge, and then all of a sudden it drops off and becomes crap. So we don't want to be doing that. So that's why I kind of give those little measurements out there for you guys. And the second thing is we want to use as small of a line diameter as possible. As far as mono and fluoro, we know those have thicker line diameters, so they are going to limit your castability. But if you move down, say 5 pounds in diameter there, you are going to be able to cast significantly further. It's one of the reasons why I choose braid. It still makes a difference with braid, but use the smallest line that you can get away with for all of your techniques. I really am a proponent of versatility, so most of my spinning reels have about 15-pound test because that is the largest leader that I'm going to put on there. So if I can get away with a 10-pound technique or know that this rod is a 10-pound technique rod, I'm going to use 10-pound braid on it. So once you fix all your mistakes with the spinning reel, you may want to check out my video on chatterbaits. I have 5 tips here that will help you be more effective with your chatterbait fishing. But until next time, see you later, fishing fam.